in Daytona Beach. That's the lone impact from the storm. We're going to have the latest on how it's going to impact your beach weekend this weekend in a few minutes.
And investigators say they have found the man accused of attacking a woman exercising on a local trail.
Plus, the state of Florida is going after textbook publishers. Leaders say they overcharge school districts by millions of dollars.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
We start off News 6 at 4 with breaking news, a deadly fire in Palm Bay.
Yeah, and we've just learned an elderly woman was killed in this. It happened at a house on Firth Road. That's off Emerson Drive, just west of Minton Road. We want to take a look at new video just in from the scene. The name of the victim has not yet been released, and along with the victim, we're told a dog and a cat were also killed. The state fire marshal will determine the cause of the fire.
Detectives say they have arrested the man accused of attacking a woman while she was walking on a trail around the same time yesterday.
This happened on the Seminole County Trail near the intersection of State Road 434 and Douglas Avenue. Our Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver joins us there live. And Catherine, you've been working to find out more about this attacker.
At this point, the sheriff's office has only given us limited information to go off of. They told us late this morning that they had found a suspect who matched the description that they put out to the public. It was about this time yesterday when they say a woman was walking here on the trail and she was approached by a man on an electric scooter. Less than 24 hours after deputies say a woman was attacked by a man on the Seminole Trail, detectives say they now have a suspect in custody. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office had previously shared this photo of the electric scooter and red shirt they say was left behind, along with this picture of the man they were looking for, captured by a camera in the area near 434 and Douglas Avenue. They say around 4 o'clock Monday, a woman walking here was dragged towards the wood line. Someone nearby heard her cries for help and called 911. It's a busy area surrounded by businesses.
It's a shame. You know, you hate to see things like that.
Our News 6 team spoke to people biking and walking and talking about what happened.
We were surprised, we're saddened. We see a lot of single ladies out here.
You don't know who you're going to meet on the trail, and you know there's people individually riding their bikes, and you know they could be creeps.
The sheriff's office says it's a reminder to stay alert. They offer free women's safety and awareness classes.
We love elbows.
We've told you about similar courses at agencies across Central Florida.
This is really just getting them in a mindset that things do happen.
What's the top tip you tell people?
Don't run alone. We met Carrie Gregory at Track Shack in Orlando. They have a safety class too.
This is a ripcord siren that you will pull this little device here, and it is very loud. It will sound like a fire truck in your backyard.
So the idea is to get somebody's attention.
Super attention, yes. Mace, this is pretty standard, but just push the tab at the top here.
Better to have these and not need them.
Absolutely.
The sheriff's office told us they did step up patrols after what happened here yesterday. And during that increased presence is when they found the suspect. We'll let you know as soon as they share more information with us. For now, I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Just terrifying when you think about it. Catherine, thank you. But it's good to know that there are things you can do to try and protect yourself and mitigate something like that happening.
Yeah, and we know that a lot of people who run regularly, thankfully, are aware of things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is not the first time women have been attacked along trails like this one in Central Florida.
No, just 3 weeks ago, we told you about an attack in Orange County along the Little Econ Greenway Trail right near Colonial Drive and Goldenrod Road. And that suspect is still on the run.
Protect yourself with any kind of running flare.
That was the advice from runner Amy Ertl just days after an attempted attack on the Little Econ Greenway Trail in East Orange County.
Whatever can cause a scene, and people have the mace. I've seen people run with.
Deputies say this man, caught on surveillance video, attempted to rape a woman who was running alone near Yates Road. It happened around 9 a.m. on Friday, July 25th.
Anything can happen, obviously. Had I known her, had I known that, I would have told her never that side by yourself.
Deputies also advise that people not cover both ears with headphones. In 2017, another woman was grabbed and pulled toward a car on this same trail when a man was attempting to kidnap her. In both cases, the women fought back and got away. Now we want to have you take another close look at the man in this video. If you recognize him, you're asked to call Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS.
Right now, Hurricane Erin is as close as it is going to get to Florida. It is roughing up surf and seas for the next few days, though.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now with what's going on in the tropics. And Jonathan, as you guys have been predicting, Erin is taking that turn, but it's still having some impacts for us here.
It is, yeah. The only way you're going to feel the impact is if you're along the coast and looking at the waves and certainly the rip currents and seeing the red flags flying. That's about it. Again, about 500 miles is going to be the closest path. And I know there's been a lot of chatter on social media. It hasn't made the turn. It hasn't made the turn. There we go. There isn't even the other end on there. So now north-northwest at about 10 miles an hour as it lifts north from the Turks and Caicos. And again, going to put about 500 miles between the center of the storm and the state of Florida. So just how we like it, of course. If you're planning on getting in the Atlantic, you might want to think twice. Again, the rip current risk is going to be very high over the next couple of days. The surf is going to be rough. Waves crashing at about 5 to 8 feet, really starting later tonight and then continuing into tomorrow and through Thursday. And again, nearshore water, small craft advisory in play through Thursday night with the waves at about 9 to 14 feet. We'll talk much more on the track and, of course, a slight chance for a few more storms again coming your way tomorrow, coming up at about 4:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. This afternoon, we're learning more about the moments before a missing teen died.
For days, volunteers in Brevard searched for the 18-year-old, but investigators later found his body hundreds of miles away on Florida's Gulf Coast. News 6 anchor Matt Austin is live in the newsroom now with an update that we just got in today. Matt.
Yeah, ladies, today the sheriff explained what happened before they found the body of Giovanni Pelletier in a retention pond. It all started on August 1st. Manatee County Sheriff said the teen's cousin and 2 others picked him up to take him to Brevard County. He never made it there. The sheriff said they smoked marijuana and the people in the car told investigators Pelletier began acting erratically and even threatened to kill them. When the driver learned the teen had a knife, he pulled over along I-75 in Manatee County and Pelletier got out of the car.
We responded to Brevard County and we interviewed the 3. They gave us the exact same story that they gave Brevard County. They also agreed to come back to Manatee County to help us pinpoint exactly where they pulled off the side of the road and where Giovanni got out of the car.
Now, detectives scoured traffic videos and cameras, and they found this showing Pelletier running across southbound I-75. A semi-truck almost hits him. They also say they found other surveillance video showing him running down a steep embankment and ending up in a pond at the bottom of the hill. Investigators found his body a week later. Manatee County Sheriff says no foul play is suspected. Right now, they're waiting on toxicology results to see if there were any other drugs in his system. No charges have been filed in this case. Lisa.
All right, Matt, thank you. New at 4, Cocoa police say what started out as a domestic dispute between a couple ended with a chaotic crash on State Road 520. Cocoa police say a woman pulled out of a nearby Wawa with a man clinging to the hood of her car. We're told the man had to be airlifted to the hospital, and at last check, he was in critical condition. The woman was also taken to the hospital, but her injuries were not severe. No charges have been filed yet. We are told traffic homicide investigators are involved in the case. 2 other cars were hit in all of this chaos, but no one else was hurt.
2 women are waiting to face a judge. They're accused of setting fire at the Apopka home of a relative before leading police on a chase into Orlando. Investigators say this all happened off Magnolia Blossom Court, not far from Orange Blossom Trail and Vic Road. They also say the 2 women, Delilah Fudge and Olivia Green, lit items on fire on the back porch of a woman's home. Green is related to this woman, apparently. Then they took off when she called police. This is Fudge, the mugshot. We are still pressing the sheriff's office for a mugshot for Green. A police report shows Green was flying down the road at more than 100 miles an hour, but eventually crashed the car near US 441 and Long Street in Orlando. That's when the report says the 2 women were taken into custody. News 6's Mike Valenti is diving into that police record, including the charges the 2 women are facing. He'll be breaking it down ahead on News 6 at 5.
The state of Florida is going head-to-head with textbook publishers over millions of dollars. The state claims they overcharged local school districts. Your Osceola County community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez explains.
Here at Voyager K-8, the governor announced they're taking textbook publishers to court over claims they sold their materials at higher prices to some schools around the state, including here in Osceola County.
A textbook case of corporate greed.
The lawsuit, filed by the state attorney general, started with a 2022 whistleblower complaint.
They got discounts as they cut deals in other places, and they saved money. Unfortunately for them, Florida law requires the lowest price to be given to our school systems. They did not do that, so we have sued them and we will hold them accountable.
It alleges that McGraw-Hill and Savvis Learning have been overcharging state districts and schools for textbooks. It claims some school districts were overcharged by the millions, violating state law and taking valuable resources from Florida schools. According to the state, there were at least 5,900 overcharges found.
When textbook publishers apply to be placed in the state's adopted textbook list, they agree in writing to automatically reduce the price of instructional materials to the district school board to match reductions that have been made in other places throughout the United States of America. And that was not being done by these two textbook companies.
Osceola County is on the list of schools that the lawsuit claims was overcharged by as much as $279,000.
But they forgot who they're doing business with. In Florida, you don't get to squeeze out your corporate Christmas bonuses on the backs of our taxpayers.
The potential civil penalties for this case between the two publishers could be anywhere from $37 and $60 million. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Now to a fishing adventure that turned into a shark bite.
And one of the guys I'm with got bit in the leg.
Why he says he is not done with shark fishing, that's coming up.
If you got an old motion sensing light like this, but it's not doing a whole lot of sensing, I'm Eric Von Anken, the handy newsman. I got some ideas for you how you can do some adjusting and at least make it work a little bit better. We're getting results at home coming up.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
It's
You
Irene.
made it.
How are you? We came all the way to
fine.
Tavares to fix your floodlight.
I know. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Welcome
so nice to meet
Imperial
you.
Terrace.
Thank you. You know, I'm Eric Von Anken, the handy
Yes,
newsman
of course.
with Destiny. I feel like you know her too, right?
Not really.
Show me what we got going on.
Okay, I believe my floodlight is a female. Okay, it's
Female.
very sporadic. Yes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh!
It's a little bit like us.
So
But,
it doesn't turn on sometimes, and when you're coming in, you were telling me it's dark.
It's dark.
So it's got a bunch of settings on it. So I'm going to try and adjust the settings and see if that gets results.
I'm sure that it will. You have a great reputation.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Step 1 is to make sure the power is onto the light. Step 2 is get to know the settings on the bottom of the sensor. This one has 2. So this switch is a slider, and one end says test, the other end has numbers. But the test part is important because now we can check it during the day. Watch. Step 3 is to adjust. The sensor works, obviously, but Irene needs it to detect a whole lot further away and stay on a whole lot longer. So I'm going to set this to the longest setting. There's 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes. We're putting it on 10 minutes. So now it'll stay on for 10 minutes each time it turns on before it turns off. Now we're going to adjust sensitivity. That's this knob, and we're going to turn it all the way up to max so it detects movement for Irene further away.
Eric, how
All
are
right.
we doing?
Irene, I think I did the best I could.
I'm sure you did.
Should stay on for about 10 minutes now. Sensitivity
Okay.
should be better, but in all honesty, it's pretty old, isn't it?
Yes. Not as old as me, but yeah. pretty old.
Or me.
Oh, okay.
The
Well,
new ones work really well. It looks like this one's on its last legs or so, but it should be better.
it should be. Yes, Eric.
I think we got results.
We sure did, Eric, as usual.
All right.
Irene, man.
And Tavares. We will go everywhere to help people. That's awesome. If you have a project you would like Eric to tackle, and Destiny too, send us an email at gettingresultsathome@wkmg.com. And next week, they may just show up at your door.
Who? That was a tough crowd.
That was,
yes,
I know.
but glad he was able to help her out. All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, who is standing by, tracking the rough surf up and down the coast because of Erin right now.
Yeah, and certainly it looks a little crazy out there. If you wanted to go see the impact of what Hurricane Erin is doing to the Atlantic, just drive on over to the beach, or if you're hanging along the beach or live there, you can certainly see the surf turning up a little bit. Again, that is the extent, as we've been talking about really for the last 7 to 10 days now, that Erin would not come close. And again, it's going to make a pass about 500 miles to our east. But again, because it's such a large storm, it's cranking up the surf as expected. Right around 90 degrees at the beach. And again, just be very, very careful. We can't say that enough, because the rip current risk is going to be through the roof, likely through the end of this work. We can download the free News 6 weather app to stay up to date on the tropics and our local weather. The breeze right now out of the north at about 15 miles an hour. Again, the center of the storm is going to head out here. There's the cone, and as it works its way up the eastern seaboard, again, even bringing direct impacts, at least not making a landfall anywhere in the United States, really anywhere, you see the rip current risk, again, red all the way up, not only from the state of Florida, but all the way up to Maine. So this is going to have big impacts if anybody has weekend plans all up and down the eastern seaboard. Here's the big thing, though, as you take a look at the water vapor imagery. Of course, one thing to point out, you see the orange and black on your screen. That's some of the drier air in the mid-levels of our atmosphere. And while we do have a couple of downpours and thunderstorms out there, it's not as many as we had last night, and certainly not going to be either, because on the northern end of Erin, we're starting to see some of that drier air push back through. You'll also notice it does not look as well defined as what it did yesterday either. That's the steering mechanism, that trough, lifting it to the north. Again, that's going to continue to safely allow it to pass by the state of Florida. And again, it is not coming here over the next couple of days as it continues to lift to the north. Here are some thunderstorms. We do have a beefy one for you just south of the Orlando International Airport. These are drifting from north to south today, right around Kissimmee toward Lake Toho as well. Point Siena, early heads up. We have the heavy rain just towards our north and east, but we do have some lightning in town, so just keep that in mind. And again, if you download the free News 6 weather app, it'll give you that lightning lightning detection, of course, you get those push alerts for free. There's 4 to 5 o'clock on your Tuesday. Everything pushing down. Future radar doing a nice job showing the motion here. There's 7 to 8 o'clock later on this evening. Much quieter night than last night. I know you guys along the I-95 corridor, you're like, what are you talking about? It was everything west of Orlando as we were breaking down yesterday. That's where we saw the heavier stuff. Now tomorrow, same kind of deal. We have Erin way out there, but the onshore flow as a result of that storm going to help to generate a few more downpours. That's going to be 8 o'clock on your Wednesday morning. Scattered downpours in the mix for you, so don't be surprised again on your morning commute. And then a few of these work their way from the Atlantic Ocean back over inland tomorrow. So that's going to be something that we watch throughout the course of the day. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
Temperatures tomorrow back to the mid-90s. Rain chances going up a little bit, back up to 40%. By the time we get towards the end of this work week, we're into that 60% range to get wet, kind of where we should be for this time of the year. Mid-90s right on through the weekend. We'll keep that 60% shot for thunderstorms both Saturday and Sunday, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. A man who was bitten by a shark during a fishing trip now has a message for that shark.
See you next time.
Okay. How he was bitten right after catching the shark. That's next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
A shark fishing adventure took a dangerous turn for a man and his friends.
While they were posing for a picture with a 6-foot lemon shark they had just caught, the shark bit one of the guys.
We were taking the hook, and we just finished taking the hook out of his mouth. We were going to go release him, and the shark just turned and bit me.
It happened over the weekend in Southwest Florida. Firefighters had to put a tourniquet on his leg and then airlift him to the hospital. Despite what happened, though, the man remained excited about shark fishing.
Luckily, he only took a little bit of me, and not a lot. So, I'm one of the fortunate ones, and, now I'm a shark bite victim. A lot of good stories now.
So he's expected to make a full recovery, and he's already looking forward to his next fishing trip.
Right now, leaders in Volusia County are talking about allowing horses on the beach. The potential locations include North Shore Park in Ormond by the Sea, stretching about 9 miles to the Flagler County line. The second location is a 9-mile stretch near the Neptune Beach approach in Ormond Beach. The proposal would restrict riding to non-driving beach areas and include seasonal limits to protect turtle nesting. Capacity would be limited and riders would need to book 48 hours in advance. I can see a lot of people wanting to do something like that.
It's a beautiful scene, yeah. Well, rip currents are a major issue as Erin continues its run out in the tropics.
Yeah, we'll have the warnings along the beach. That's next.
Tariffs are a big item on this week's commission agenda here at Port Canaveral. I'll tell you what it could mean for the price of parking coming up.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
Yeah, we begin with some breaking news. Firefighters say an elderly woman was killed in a fire in Palm Bay. This happened at a house on Firth Road off Emerson Drive, just west of Minton Road. The name of the victim has not yet been released. We're told a dog and a cat were also killed in the fire. The state fire marshal will determine the cause of the fire. One person is in custody in connection to a sexual battery in Seminole County. This happened around 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon near State Road 434 and Douglas Avenue on the Seminole-Wekiva Trail. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office says a woman was approached by a man on an electric scooter who dragged her toward the woods. Florida is suing textbook publishers over millions in alleged overcharges to school districts. Governor DeSantis spoke about the lawsuit this morning in St. Cloud. The suit claims McGraw-Hill and Savas Learning charge some Florida schools higher prices than others, violating state law.
A live look now at our camera in Daytona Beach. The biggest impacts we will see from Erin, the dangerous surf and rip currents out there. Your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada is taking a look at the rough conditions.
That's right, guys. With Erin well offshore, the surf here in Daytona Beach is still very strong. Check that out. The Beach Patrol is warning these conditions will keep getting rougher and could stick around all week. Volusia County is warning about dangerous rip currents and rough surf, and the county has removed trash cans, equipment from the beach. They say driving could be limited, and people are urged to swim only near staffed lifeguard towers. Now, up the coast, Erin is creating bigger problems. Mandatory evacuations are underway on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Officials warn high water and dangerous surf could cut off parts of the islands. And just yesterday, both residents and tourists raced to get out.
We're from New Jersey. We experienced Sandy, so we know the drill, and probably better to be safe than sorry.
And here in Volusia County, lifeguards say the best advice is simple. Check the flags and stay out of the water. Again, these rough conditions are expected to last for days. Reporting in Daytona Beach, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent, Angie Casada, News 6.
North Carolina's Outer Banks are bracing for the impacts of Hurricane Erin. Tourists evacuated yesterday and residents are headed to the mainland today. Erin is not forecast to make landfall, but again, it's still expected to bring heavy rain and dangerous surf.
I can't tell you what exactly to do, except don't get into the ocean. That's got to be the number one message across up and down the entire North Carolina coast, is just do not get in the ocean.
Red flag warnings are also expected all along the East Coast, from Florida to New England. Leaders in New Jersey and New York's Long Island are also telling people to stay out of the water.
Staying in Volusia County now, a major move in Edgewater could stir up problems with the state. Last night, leaders voted to defy a new state law and not repeal the city's current moratorium on new construction. That building ban was put into place to give the council more time to come up with solutions to years of flooding issues. A law passed by the state legislature this year bans local restrictions, but many homeowners say the city needs to take a stand.
We're losing local control. We're losing the protection of our own neighborhoods, of the Indian River Lagoon, of Spruce Creek, with development that's completely out of control.
Just don't stop fighting for these residents and these business owners in the city that sits on the water's edge.
The final vote was 3-2 to keep the ordinance in place. The city attorney warned they could get lawsuits and potentially be removed from office.
Investigators are working to learn the identities of 2 people killed in a fiery crash in Oviedo early this morning. The crash happened around 1:45 at Alafaya Woods Boulevard and Covington Street. That's not far from State Roads 426 and 434. So this was the scene that investigators say a single vehicle crashed into a tree with 2 people inside, bursting into flames. After the fire was put out by the Oviedo Fire Department, officials say the 2 people in the vehicle were unrecognizable. They provided an update earlier today about the sad scene.
It's never easy. It don't matter who you are, right? Cops are human beings, so it's very difficult to see something like that in person, and it's the unfortunate part of the job sometimes, both fire and police.
We'll let you know when officers release the victims' identities.
Well, people in Groveland have just a few more hours to cast their vote in a local election that is getting a lot of attention. Now, 3 people are running in the District 4 primary, including incumbent councilwoman Judy Fike. She recently made headlines when the council suspended her over questionable social media posts. She said she sued and a judge ruled that she be reinstated. Voters will now have the final say on her seat. She's facing a challenge from retired Navy veteran Jim O'Neill and former civil engineer Michael Jaycox. Emily McLeod spoke to them about what they want to see for the city.
One of the things I'd like to introduce into the city council as well as the city management is an evaluation process. Establish some KPIs, key performance indicators, that the citizens and the city council and the city government will all negotiate as to what it means to be effective in our jobs. And the citizens should have a role in deciding how we are evaluated.
Definitely have financial responsibility, which they don't have. They just think we're a piggy bank and we just keep giving them money.
Polls close at 7. We'll keep you updated on the results.
Taking a live look now at our Launch Credit Union cam at Port Canaveral. What you pay to park there is about to become more expensive. The reason, according to port officials, tariffs. Right now, Port Canaveral is eyeing an increase to offset its increased costs. Your Brevard County community correspondent James Barbero breaks down how much more money you will have to fork over the next time you set sail.
So just the other weekend, I took a tour of Port Canaveral's newest and largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas. And as you might imagine, with almost 1 million people taking a cruise here a month now, the port's also making record money on parking from passengers. And that could go up even more. As it's written in Wednesday's commission agenda, we are proposing selective increases to certain tariff items, including an adjustment to the daily cruise parking rate from $17 to $20. So I just met Michelle here in one of the port's parking lots. So Michelle, if the port wants to raise daily parking rates from $17 a day to $20 a day, what would your reaction to that be?
It's a little high, honestly, but it would definitely be good for the local economy, I guess. But you have to think of, for the cruise people that are cruising, what would be the benefit to that?
Do you think raising parking deters anyone from cruising, or will they still keep coming?
They'll keep coming, but it would probably deter some people. Everything's going up, so of course some people of some economic statuses would not be able to take these fun vacations with their families.
And parking's not the only thing getting more expensive because of tariffs. The port's setting aside more than $1 million to cover the costs of tariffs on its mobile harbor cranes. If the commission approves raising the parking fees, the increase would go into effect October 1st. At Port Canaveral, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Barbero, News 6.
This morning, Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer delivered his 2025 State of the City address at the Plaza Live on Bumby Avenue. The mayor says the city focuses on 3 things year after year: the basics, investing in the future, and embracing innovation. For the basics, the city has added 500 miles of sidewalks and expanded green space to over 4,600 acres to improve walkability. The mayor says Orlando is also known for being one of the most fiscally responsible cities in the country, which allows funding for projects like a new firefighter training facility, upgrading stormwater systems, and renovating outdoor amenities like Lou Gardens.
Even as demand for these core services have exploded because of our population growth, our strong financial management has allowed us to do this work without raising taxes. And that is something that should grab headlines.
The mayor also highlighted other accomplishments and plans, including more housing developments to meet demand, job opportunity growth in the bioscience and medical fields in Lake Nona, and reinventing downtown into a sports, arts, and entertainment destination.
A tentative agreement has been reached in the Air Canada flight attendant strike. Flight cancellations have been snarling plans for hundreds of thousands of travelers. Checking Orlando International Airport's flight status, some Air Canada flights remain canceled for tonight and tomorrow. CBS's Tom Hansen reports from New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Air Canada flights are set to take to the skies again following a 3-day strike that crippled operations.
Not a day work has
10,000 flight attendants walked off the job early Saturday after months of failed negotiations over higher wages.
All of us have been affected by this. We can't use food banks. We can't be sleeping in our cars anymore.
The union representing the striking flight attendants says it worked overnight with the airlines and a mediator in order to reach a tentative deal, saying in part, unpaid work is over. We have reclaimed our voice and our power. It includes compensation for work done between flights, such as boarding and deplaning, which until now was unpaid.
It's important that they're compensated equitably at all times, fairly at all times. That's the reason why there have been negotiations.
Air Canada says the strike disrupted travel plans for tens of thousands of passengers per day. Hundreds of flights that were canceled typically fly into and out of LaGuardia Airport here in New York City. While Air Canada has not commented on the agreement, it issued a statement saying the suspension of our services is extremely difficult for our customers, adding that they deeply regret and apologize for the impact on them. The airline says it could take 7 to 10 days to fully return to regular service, meaning flyers should still expect some cancellations. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
Another Central Florida highway is going cashless starting tomorrow.
We'll tell you about the complete phase out of cash tolls and what drivers are saying about it. That's next.
Most of us are dry tonight, but a couple of nasty thunderstorms rolling through parts of Kissimmee, St. Cloud, back to Point Siena. We'll talk about where this is headed and talk about those dangerous beach conditions again at about 4:47.
And before we head to break, we have an all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus to tell you about. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 Plus on News 6 Tonight. That's at 9, and then go in depth as we track the tropics and answer your questions about weather at 9:30. And after that, watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Be sure to download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
All right, take a look at this live look at State Road 417. Here is a reminder. Today is the last day you will be able to pay by cash if you use the 417. The move is part of a larger plan by the Central Florida Expressway Authority to phase out cash tolls entirely by the end of this year.
Your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, drove along the 417 to see how this could change and impact your drive.
For decades, drivers on State Road 417 have had the option of pulling over and paying cash for tolls. But today, those cash tolls are being phased out for good. Electronic tolling is now the future with systems such as transponders like ePass and SunPass and license plate cameras.
I want to show you this. It looks like the cash toll system that drivers are used to seeing is actually already sealed off. And I'll bring you a little bit closer just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Drivers would typically drop their coins right here. Their change would pop up right here and they drive right through, heading that way.
The updated technology will catch your plates or e-passes even if you try to avoid them. Crew workers who were at this tolling plaza told me that even if one system goes down, there are multiple ways to make sure drivers are being charged the right amount. But drivers like Alicia Smith are already using the e-pass.
I mean, how long has it been for you since you've used cash?
A long time. I just go by.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel about, them getting rid of the cash tolls?
I mean, it don't really bother me because I just go by. I mean, it'd probably be a lot easier, but I just go by.
So what do you do if you're used to paying the cash toll? Get a SunPass or EasyPass, or the bill that ends up in your mail from plate cameras may cost you more than expected. In Orange County, your community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, News 6.
All right, it is time to check out the forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. And Jonathan, it's like clockwork. It is getting active out there.
It is. Not too many storms, certainly not as many as we saw last night, but where they are, they're a little strong tonight. Nothing severe. We don't have any warnings or anything like that, but you see all the lightning strikes leaving the southern end of Lake Toho. Right now, you can track these storms right alongside us tonight by downloading the free News 6 weather app, but certainly a lot of very heavy rain. You see the lightning out there. Again, just in this cell alone, about 70 strikes in the last 10-15 minutes here that we've been tracking these storms, at least in this box, in this loop here. This is all sliding back down toward Poinciana. So again, early heads up. We gave it that heads up about 15 minutes ago. We have a lock on it with our downtown Orlando, light Orlando, delivering hope sky cam. You can see the clear skies on the left-hand side of the screen. On the right, there's the thunderstorm there. You can see the heavy rain again from downtown Orlando, pointed south. Looking at that cell, temperatures back to the upper 70s, close enough for the Orlando International Airport to be reporting that thunderstorm. The breeze out of the northeast right now at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. So again, there's not many thunderstorms out there, but where we have them, they are packing a punch. Speaking of packing a punch, we do have Erin out there. Way out there. Again, this is not coming to Florida. We continue to say that, but there's still people on social media that say that it is. But again, I want to confirm there as we watch the direction of movement here, north-northwest at about 10 miles an hour. It made the turn late last night, the bigger turn, and it continues to lift into that direction again, away from Florida. As we keep on saying, the only impact of Erin, the only way you're going to know that it's there is if you head to the beach. And again, do be careful if you do, because the rip current risk is through the roof, already starting today, and then continuing through the end of this work week. The surf is going to continue to tick up. Those breaking waves pushing 8 feet starting tonight, and then into that 5 to 8 foot category tomorrow into Thursday. And then that small craft advisory also in play for the next several days, 9 to 14 foot breaking waves out there. So it's going to be a mess at the beaches. Could have some beach erosion as well, especially at high tide. Rest of the afternoon and evening, future radar again pushing everything back to the south and west. We're going to keep that same motion as we roll on through the rest of the evening, although I don't think it's as active this evening as what we saw last night. There we go. Overnight, I think tomorrow morning, when you're watching Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, a couple of downpours right along the coast again. We're going to keep that flow off of the Atlantic. That's courtesy of Erin. These are not outer bands or anything like that. It's still way too far away. But what happens is when you get that northeasterly flow north of the storm, it does help to generate a couple of these downpours sliding through right off the Atlantic. That's 5 to 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Same kind of deal, watching some storms start to push their way back inland. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Temperatures tomorrow back to the low to mid 90s with that breeze off of the Atlantic, more like 89 in New Smyrna Beach. Daytona Beach, we're hanging around 90 tomorrow, 94 in Bushnell, 94 in Groveland. Rain chances back up to 40%. Onto the tropical note, watching a couple of waves. This one right here, you see that we like that shape, again, developing. Likely also staying away from Florida. And then this guy, it's going to have a very short window as it's rolling off. Certainly could develop, but that one looks like it has a short lifespan. So again, no immediate threats for Florida as we roll through the next week or so. 94 degrees on Wednesday. Tomorrow back to 50% shot for storms Thursday into Friday. Rain chances over the weekend back up to 60%.
Jonathan, thank you. Open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. They could end up right here on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. Now to a question for our traffic safety expert.
Someone wanted to know about the history behind Miranda rights and how it got its name. We'll have that answer next. As we take a live look at Mount Dora, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, another local city looking to formally ban sleeping in public. The worries about the potential impact on the homeless and what's being done to try and help. Plus, we'll have the latest on Erin's impacts along our coast. We'll see you for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
Who is Miranda and what do they have to do with my rights? So when you hear the phrase, you have the right to remain silent, you're hearing something that actually comes straight from a United States Supreme Court case back in the 1960s. So the right we know today as Miranda rights actually come from a case called Miranda versus Arizona in 1966. So here's the story real quick. Ernesto Miranda was arrested in Phoenix and questioned by police. He ended up confessing to his crimes, but here's the issue. He didn't know he had the right to stay silent or the right to have an attorney with him. So the Supreme Court stepped in and has said, from now on, before questioning, police must make sure suspects know their rights. That's why the warnings are called Miranda rights, named after the man at the center of the whole case, right? So the next time you hear those famous words in a movie or a TV show or in the back of a police car, remember, they're not just dramatic lines. They're protections that come from a real case meant to make sure everybody knows the rules before being questioned, reference to a crime. But also remember, this is only when law enforcement is questioning you, reference to a crime. Outside of that, they don't need to read you the rights. If you've got a traffic safety question and you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
Well, Ginger, retirement could be closer than you may think.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, do you play the Powerball?
Only when it gets to a certain amount.
Well, it's there. So the lottery jackpot is continuing to roll over after no one matched all numbers on last night's drawing. So that means the jackpot is now up to $643 million, or $290 million if you take it all at once in a lump sum. Is that enough?
It is, but I still wouldn't retire.
Oh, the prize, I would. The prize pool is the highest jackpot of the year. The next drawing is set for tomorrow night. Remember, you can get those numbers right here on News 6 at 11. It's okay, you can be honest.
No, I would
Our
still come to
bosses
work.
will be okay with it if you win $600 million.
Still coming back to work. News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
If either of you win, I'm retiring, just so you know. You're going to have to take care of me. Well, Florida is taking on textbook giants as the state claims millions were overcharged in school book deals. Osceola Schools is among those hit hard. What this lawsuit means for your tax dollars coming up. And your forecast only minutes away. Don't forget you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras. Look at those currents out there right now. This is Daytona Beach. Be careful if you get in the water. We'll be right back.
Now at 5, tributes pouring in for a charter boat captain who police say was killed in a road rage shooting. How friends and family are reacting. Plus, a woman attacked on a popular Seminole County trail. Tonight, deputies have a person in custody. Plus,
coming up, family feud. But in this case, there's hardly a prize.
You're watching News 6 at 5.
Almost a week after a deadly road rage shooting in Sanford, we are now learning more about the man who was killed. His name was Joseph Hall. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. It happened at the View on Lake Monroe Apartments last Thursday. News 6's Emily McLeod joins us live from the newsroom. Emily, we're learning the man who died was a beloved charter fishing boat captain down in Key Largo.
Yeah, that's right, Matt. We were able to confirm Hall's identity by reaching out to the charter company, Sailor's Choice. We spoke to one of Hall's friends, and they say right now friends and family are too distraught to even talk about their loss. A road rage incident turning deadly when Sanford police say 24-year-old Jaden Harris shot and killed Joseph Hall at the View on Lake Monroe Apartments. News 6 has now confirmed Hall was a charter boat captain for Sailor's Choice party fishing boat down in Key Largo. Pictures from the company's Facebook page show Hall on the water. A close friend of Hall's tells us friends and family aren't ready to talk about his death, but a statement from Hall's widow on the Sailor's Choice Facebook page reads in part, "It breaks my heart to share that my husband, Captain Joe, has passed away. He poured his whole heart into the Sailor's Choice and Angler's Choice. The boats weren't just his work, they were his passion, his second home, and his way to connect with so many of you." Sanford police also releasing an unredacted version of the arrest report. According to the report, the situation started while Harris and Hall were driving on South Mangustine Avenue. Investigators say Harris told them Hall was driving really slow and proceeded to pass him. Police say Harris told them after he passed Hall was acting like he was going to hit his car. The report says Harris then followed Hall to try and get a picture of his license plate. Harris told investigators Hall turned into the apartment complex and blocked him in. The report says Harris told police Hall got out of his car and approached him. Harris says he fired the first shot while in the driver's seat of his car. Police say witnesses told them they remember seeing Hall running from Harris at one point and hearing several gunshots. However, based on the report, Harris never told police he ran after Hall. At the bottom of the report, police say Harris had several opportunities to disengage from pursuing Hall, but maliciously continued instead. Now, also at the bottom of that report, police say during his interview, Harris never said if he was in fear of his life. They also say neither Harris or witnesses saw Hall had any weapons on him. Harris is now facing a murder charge and is behind bars at the Seminole County Jail. I'll send it back to you all in studio. Reporting live in the newsroom, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Emily, thank you. Let's take a live look at Daytona Beach now. The waves are certainly kicking up. Now, they're not at max capacity right now, but Hurricane Erin is churning up the Atlantic.
Yeah, and we are also tracking those afternoon thunderstorms. There's a lot popping on the radar. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas has the latest for us.
Yeah, especially this one, guys, hanging out in Osceola County. This was hanging around the Orlando International Airport, moved through Kissimmee, losing a little bit of its punch, but you see a lot of lightning associated with this cell here, sliding just to the west of us in Point Siena. You can likely hear the thunder, maybe see some lightning strikes off into the distance, certainly the darker clouds. Harmony, this is skirting by us as well. This is on the south side of Holopah. We'll zoom this, take this back out as it makes its way pretty much right down the Florida Turnpike tonight toward Kenansville, closer to the rest stop there, if you're familiar with that, right by Kenansville on the Turnpike. Yeehaw Junction, we are dry right now, but if that holds together, it'll be hanging out by you over the next hour. We'll take you back to Sumter County. Last night we were tracking those nasty thunderstorms with you. We were streaming live after the 6:30 newscast, and we have more thunderstorms right around the Wildwood area popping back up again. Should not be as prolific as what we saw last night. And then also around Ocala, we're watching that. You already see the purple popping back up, so that one could get a little beefy. I'm tracking that for you guys on the west side of Ocala, and certainly Denellen as these are moving from northwest to southeast. Everybody in purple here, that's going to be the entire eastern seaboard, the east coast of Florida under that high surf advisory. Matt mentioned it, not yet at peak wave height. We'll likely see that overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow, where those waves are going to break at about 5 to 8 feet. We'll talk much more about that and have the latest track on Erin 5 o'clock advisory fresh in. We'll get to that at about 5:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Now to a fiery family feud that escalated into an alarming point in Apopka. Last night, police say 19-year-old Olivia Green, with the help of her friend, set her family's home on fire. Now, everyone inside was okay, but as your Orange County community correspondent Mike Valenti reports, you can see the signs of internal dysfunction right outside the house.
If she really did what she's accused of, 19-year-old Olivia Green appears to have left her mark here. Literally, we're talking about the burn marks on the side of the house she shares with her family. But even before Monday's saga, she apparently made her anger known. Charged with arson and attempted murder, Green and her 18-year-old friend, Delia Fudge, are in custody, following a frantic effort Monday night to evade police, who say the car the teens were in went as fast as 125 miles per hour before eventually crashing in Orlando. Monday marked the culmination of an ongoing feud between Green and one of her family members, who she lived with. That family member told police that Green has previously set fires inside the house, including last year when she set the living room couch ablaze. But this latest rift apparently started August 13th, when the two got into an argument during a funeral for another family member. 2 days later, Apopka police responded to a report that Green hit another family member and sprayed them with pepper spray. And then the next day, officers were back at the house after Green allegedly slashed the tires of 3 vehicles there. That brings us to Monday, the alleged arson, prompting yet another visit from authorities.
Nothing ever happens in this neighborhood, so it was shocking.
Wrong kind of excitement.
Yes, definitely.
This neighbor, who asked that we not identify her, told us it was just Sunday when a couple people who live at this house knocked on her door and asked if they could look at her Ring camera footage.
They said they had some vandalism, and so it piqued my interest because I live, very close to them, and it didn't look like vandalism to me. It looked like something more serious than that.
That's a sentiment that police might agree with. In Olivia Green's criminal complaint, when summing up the events that preceded Monday night, an Apopka officer wrote, quote, "These incidents have shown a clear and apparent escalation of violence, including battery, breaking windows, pepper spraying, slashing tires, and now this incident." Reporting in Apopka, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Well, detectives in Seminole County say they have taken a suspect into custody in connection to a sexual battery case. This happened yesterday while the victim was walking on the Seminole County Trail, right now near the intersection of State Road 434 and Douglas Avenue. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, joins us live from there. So, Catherine, you've been working to find out some more about this suspect.
That's right, and the sheriff's office has not released his name or told us much more about him. All we know right now is they found a person who they said matched the description of who they were looking for. We know the sheriff's office had been canvassing this area where a woman was walking here on the trail yesterday afternoon. They say she was approached by a man on an electric scooter. Less than 24 hours after deputies say a woman was attacked by a man on the Seminole County Trail, detectives say they now have a suspect in custody. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office had previously shared this photo of the electric scooter and red shirt they say was left behind, along with this picture of the man they were looking for, captured by a camera in the area near 434 and Douglas Avenue. They say around 4 o'clock Monday, a woman walking here was dragged towards the wood line. Someone nearby heard her cries for help and called 911. It's a busy area surrounded by businesses.
It's a shame. You hate to see things like that.
Our News 6 team spoke to people biking and walking and talking about what happened.
We were surprised, we're saddened. We see a lot of single ladies out here.
You don't know who you're going to meet on the trail, and there's people individually riding their bikes, and they could be creeps.
The sheriff's office says it's a reminder to stay alert. They offer free women's safety and awareness classes.
We love elbows.
We've told you about similar courses at agencies across Central Florida.
This is really just getting them in a mindset that things do happen.
What's the top tip you tell people? Don't run alone.
We met Carrie Gregory at Track Shack in Orlando. They have a safety class too.
This is a ripcord siren that you will pull this little device here, and it is very loud. It will sound like a fire truck in your backyard.
So the idea is to get somebody's attention.
Super attention, yes. Mace, this is pretty standard, but just push the tab at the top here.
Better to have these and not need them.
Absolutely.
The sheriff's office had told us that they stepped up patrols in this area, and late this morning they gave us that update that they found their suspect. We'll let you know as soon as they release some more details. For now, I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. The state of Florida is going head-to-head with textbook publishers. Over millions of dollars, the state claims they overcharged local school districts. News 6's Osceola County community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez is breaking down the lawsuit.
Here at Voyager K-8, the governor announced they're taking textbook publishers to court over claims they sold their materials at higher prices to some schools around the state, including here in Osceola County.
A textbook case of corporate greed.
The lawsuit, filed by the state attorney general, started with a 2022 whistleblower complaint.
They got discounts as they cut deals in other places, and they saved money. Unfortunately for them, Florida law requires the lowest price to be given to our school systems. They did not do that, so we have sued them and we will hold them accountable.
It alleges that McGraw-Hill and Savvis Learning have been overcharging state districts and schools for textbooks. It claims some school districts were overcharged by the millions, violating state law and taking valuable resources from Florida schools. According to the state, there were at least 5,900 overcharges found.
When textbook publishers apply to be placed in the state's adopted textbook list, they agree in writing to automatically reduce the price of instructional materials to the district school board to match reductions that have been made in other places throughout the United States of America. And that was not being done by these two textbook companies.
Osceola County is on the list of schools that the lawsuit claims was overcharged by as much as $279,000.
But they forgot who they're doing business with. In Florida, you don't get to squeeze out your corporate Christmas bonuses on the backs of our taxpayers.
The potential civil penalties for this case between the two publishers could be anywhere from $37 and $60 million. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Halifax Humane Society is shifting its focus to help pet owners with affordable care.
What it means for strays and dangerous animals, that's coming up. Plus,
a lot of things going up. Do you think Apopka is still an affordable place to live?
Yes.
Apopka faces big rate hikes for water, sewer, and garbage. What residents need to know before an upcoming hearing.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Higher utility bills could be coming to Apopka this fall.
Your Apopka community correspondent Justin Wormuth breaks down the proposal and why the mayor says the city has no choice but to charge more.
If you live in Apopka, you likely got this in the mail. It details the proposed rate increases for water, sewer, and garbage. I saw a lot of chatter, a lot of confusion about this on social media, so I took those concerns right to Apopka's mayor.
We got revenue and we got expenses, and so when your expenses go up, you have to raise your rates.
Apopka Mayor Brian Nelson claims the city's hands are tied when it comes to the proposed rate hikes. He says the St. John's Water Management District is now requiring the city to tap into the lower aquifer for its water.
And what happens is the water, you'd think water deeper would be better, it's not. So now we have to put on an ozone treatment, another 5 or 6 million. So we'll have about 12 million all in on replacing what was a perfectly functioning, water plant.
That cost passed on to residents, 15.5% higher for water, reclaimed water, and sewer each. Garbage rates could also go up citywide by as much as 15%.
When the tipping fees to go to the dump go up, we have to pass it on.
There's a lot of things going up. Do you think Apopka is still an affordable place to live?
Yes, I mean our tax rates are one of the lowest in the area. I mean, when you look at our water rates, I mean our sanitation rates are probably the lowest in the area. So I mean, you got to look at the global area. I mean, if we were 20% higher than everybody in the area, then you have, I think, a reason to question our rates.
Nelson denies that Apopka's population boom is playing into the rate increases, but that's been a common theme among locals who feel the city hasn't managed the growth properly.
We try to manage how many units, what kind of growth we're putting on those properties. But at the end of the day, property rights are what this country was founded on.
Sure. No, I totally understand that. I think people do understand that, but I think what they don't understand or what they're upset about is. You do have that, but then the infrastructure doesn't follow when it's playing catch up a little bit.
I don't know that I agree with that. Our impact fees and the numbers we just put together last week are the highest in Central Florida. So you can only charge, you have to, it's just like water rates. You have to charge based on the actual cost and the need. You can't just say, you know what, we're gonna triple, quadruple the impact fees. You can't do that. You have to say, okay, here's the nexus, how we got to that rate.
Now a hearing on the proposed rate increases is set for September 3rd here at City Hall. If it passes, it'll take effect October 1st. I'm your Apopka community correspondent, Justin Wormuth, News 6.
Justin, thank you very much. All right, let's look at that radar with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. What's out there, Jonathan?
Yeah, not a ton, but where we have them, packing a punch tonight. A lot of lightning across parts of Osceola County especially. We have a couple of new guys popping up, especially in Sumter, really where we got the super heavy rain yesterday. I was tracking these alongside you yesterday afternoon into the evening where we had a lot of the heavy rain. We had the flash flood warnings out for parts of Marion and Sumter County. This is pretty much over the same kind of area over Bushnell, Wildwood, Lake Panasoffkee, close by to these lightning strikes. The good news is with the Osceola one, although we still have a ton of lightning involved with this is working its way down the turnpike tonight. Now it's back over Kenansville. We gave you that early heads up just as it was on the northwest side of Kenansville. And of course, you can track these storms alongside me tonight. You can get that lightning detection alert and any kind of rain alert by downloading the free News 6 weather app. This is going to work its way down to Yeehaw Junction. Again, the lightning going to be close by very momentarily. I want to show you this too. Still some lightning strikes back in Orange County. This is from the parent thunderstorm that's hanging just to the south, but notice where we have the lightning strikes over the last couple of minutes, far away back into Kissimmee and closer to Lake Hart tonight. So just be mindful of that even though it might not be raining, some of these are packing a punch tonight and the lightning is flying way outside of the thunderstorm cell. Here's a closer look into Bushnell and to Webster. These are pushing back from the north and east down to the southwest. I'll put the loop back on to show you the motion. We also have new development around Fruitland Park into Leesburg. Heads up in Bamboo back to Coleman. These are going to be heading in your direction. Likely will get a little bit of lightning with these as they work their way back from northwest to southeast. And here's that cell I've been watching for you guys around Denellen. Again, skies are lightly getting dark just to your north and east. They are getting dark, but you'll likely see the downpour and thunderstorm working your way over the next few minutes. Future radar doing a nice job though. By 8 o'clock tonight, most of this is back out of here. I do not see a repeat performance where these linger late like they did last night. 10 o'clock, just in and out of a few stray downpours. That's going to be courtesy, an indirect courtesy of Hurricane Erin. Again, way out to sea, but it is going to help to induce that breeze off of the Atlantic. that will help to generate these few downpours and a couple of thunderstorms that'll happen overnight. So again, don't be surprised if you wake up tomorrow to a few downpours, especially closer to the coast. But as the day goes on and we heat things up, we're going to see the opportunity again for those scattered thunderstorms to erupt and then work their way back inland, just like what we're seeing today. Although tomorrow, I do think there's a higher shot of that. By 11 o'clock, just a straight downpour in the mix. Otherwise, we are nice and quiet. Daytona Beach, it's rocking this afternoon, and it's going to be like this for the next couple of days. You see how rough the surf is. Again, I know there's going to be surfers heading out over the next couple of days to a week. Just please be careful. Again, the red flags are going to be flying, and that rip current risk is going to be very, very high. 88 degrees at the beach. The breeze right now at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Again, the hurricane track way offshore, but any plans you have anywhere up and down the eastern seaboard from Miami all the way up to Maine, that rip current risk is going to be very high again as the hurricane passes safely by, at least not making landfall. The Carolinas are going to be at the greatest risk in the Virginia coastline for some of those outer bands. Again, we're not even going to see those outer bands. There's the hurricane, some drier air to the north and west of it, but you see it lifting to the north. I know a lot of people had questions. It looked ominous. It was close by, but we talked about that escape route, that upper level high pressure or low pressure system pushing it back out to sea. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Temperatures over the next couple of days back to the mid-90s. Rain chances at 40%, back to a 60% shot for storms on Friday. We're keeping things in the mid-90s over the weekend with that 60% chance for rain, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Staying fit, making friends, and having fun are some of the benefits when joining a sports league.
One Florida soccer club is giving men a chance to take control of their health without feeling judged. How this unique program is scoring big wins both on and off the field.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert. Those overnight storms really kind of delayed our construction, but do expect it again tonight. I-4 east and westbound lane closures between about the Kirkman area down to about 528 and then Brevard. You guys are still experiencing that northbound lane closure along I-95 as you approach US 192 down in the Melbourne area. We are starting to see some southbound work down here as well, so just be careful. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
Well, soccer is not just about scoring goals on the field anymore. A new Florida league is helping men take control of their health by combining the love of the game with a focus on weight loss and community support.
Christian Benavidez takes a closer look at how this program is changing lives.
These soccer players in Cooper City, Florida, are keeping score in more ways than one. Goalkeeper Miguel LaRosa.
I always loved soccer. I just had to stop because I was too big.
At 420 pounds, LaRosa decided to begin his weight loss journey, which included a complete overhaul of his lifestyle.
Literally right after taking the photo, I was telling my friends, that's it, I had to stop.
A year ago, he found Man vs. Fat, a program new to the U.S., but 10 years running in the U.K. It's a league for men who want to shed some pounds. In order to join, you have to be considered overweight on a BMI chart. No experience on the field is required.
The main goal is the health.
Felipe Herman is the coach.
Those guys, they look at the program and they said, okay, maybe I can go there, participate in the community, play soccer, feel good about it, and nobody's going to judge me.
Scoring goals is just one way to add points. At the weekly weigh-in, players can also help their team if they're dropping weight.
For every 2 players who lose weight, an extra point is added to that team's score.
Players come up with a team name using a twist on actual soccer clubs. There's the Ozempic Lyon, A1C Milan, and the Real Mac Rib.
I think the best part about this program is the community. It's very positive. It digs into the competitive nature of men and guys when they get together, but it leverages that for a positive end.
Okay. A team working together towards a common goal of better health. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Cooper City, Florida.
I love that.
It's
And
a
they're
great
having
idea.
fun doing that. You don't even realize you're getting so much exercise when you're out there playing a sport like that.
Some guy time is always good. Yeah.
Great idea. Well, Volusia County is ready to lease a new location for animal intake.
But it'll cost you about $90,000 a year. We'll break down what's next for Volusia's animal control.
Plus, new details surrounding the death of an 18-year-old, the newly released surveillance video shedding light on his disappearance. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following a bunch of top stories for you right now. A Florida charter captain was killed at an apartment complex in Sanford following what investigators are calling a road rage incident. Sanford police say Joseph Hall Jr. was shot and killed last Thursday at the View on Lake Monroe Apartments. Jaden Harris was arrested and is charged with second-degree murder. 2 people arrested for setting an Apopka home on fire. Apopka police say a woman saw those 2 people setting items on fire on her back porch. Investigators say Delia Fudge and Olivia Green led police on a chase into Orlando before crashing. After the victim called 911, both are facing multiple charges, including arson.
A person is in custody in connection to a sexual battery in Seminole County. It happened yesterday around 4 in the afternoon near State Road 434 and Douglas Avenue on the Seminole-Wekiva Trail. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office says a woman was approached by a man on an electric scooter who dragged her toward the woods. Taking a live look at Daytona Beach throughout Florida and along the eastern coast of the United States, forecasters are warning millions of people about the impacts of Hurricane Erin. The storm will not make a direct hit to land, but is expected to bring huge waves and dangerous rip currents. Parts of North Carolina have already banned swimming on beaches, and evacuations are underway on the Outer Banks. Ashar Karashi reports.
Were it not for the red flags flapping, you wouldn't know a hurricane is coming, as beachgoers in Kitty Hawk went about their day of fun and sun. Over at Wrightsville Beach, the water is off limits, with rip currents forcing people to stick to the sand.
I can't tell you what exactly to do, except don't get into the ocean. That's got to be the #1 message across, up and down the entire North Carolina coast, is just do not get in the ocean.
Tourists on the Outer Banks evacuated yesterday, and residents are headed to the mainland today with a tropical storm watch and warning in effect. Forecast to grow in size, Erin won't make landfall, but is still expected to bring heavy rain and dangerous surf and potentially cut off the islands.
Beaches in North Carolina have banned swimming all week after dozens of rescues on Monday. Red flag warnings are expected all along the East Coast, from Florida to New England.
Authorities in New Jersey and on New York's Long Island aren't taking any chances, following the death of a swimmer at the Jersey Shore last week.
This is no time to be complacent. I would just say to you flat out, don't go in the water.
Residents can expect life-threatening rip currents, large waves and surf, potentially reaching up to 10 to 12 feet, widespread dune erosion, and localized coastal flooding.
Coastal flooding is something all too familiar for Outer Banks residents, and Erin's timing is forcing some summer vacationers to make other plans. Asha Qureshi, CBS News, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
That water will beat you up right now. Tonight, we're learning new details on a missing 18-year-old who was found dead in Manatee County earlier this month.
Giovanni Pelletier had ties to Central Florida. Earlier today, the Manatee County Sheriff held a news conference. News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden joins us now. And Ginger, the sheriff talked about Pelletier's last known moments before he disappeared.
Yeah, Matt and Lisa, investigators say on August 1st, Pelletier's cousin, who lives in Brevard County, and 2 others arranged to pick him up and drive him to Central Florida. Detectives in both Brevard and Manatee County interviewed the cousin and friends. According to Manatee County Sheriff Rick Wells, their stories just simply did not match up throughout the investigation.
Not long into the drive, they start smoking weed in the car, and Giovanni starts tripping. They stop the car at an unknown location along River Road. Before they got to I-75, because Giovanni needed to use the bathroom. Luttrell says that Giovanni is acting out and raging before getting back into the car. Jalen says Giovanni was tripping, telling them, "I am a demon, and I will wreck this car," and says he will kill them all as he tries to open up the door while the car is still moving.
Sheriff Wells went on to say when the driver learned Pelletier had a knife, he pulled over on I-75 in Manatee County, and Pelletier got out of the car. Pelletier was spotted on traffic cameras running across southbound traffic and nearly was hit by a semi-truck. The sheriff says surveillance cameras later captured him running down a steep embankment. Pelletier's body was found at the bottom of a retention pond a week later. Wells said Pelletier sent 2 text messages to his mom, both simply saying help. The second message included the word me. Authorities are awaiting toxicology results to see if there were any other drugs in Pelletier's system. Lisa.
Ginger, thank you. Only on News 6, big changes are coming to where animals can be sheltered in Volusia County. The Halifax Humane Society is ending its contract with the county and cities, meaning it will no longer accept stray or dangerous animals from around Volusia. Your community correspondent from Volusia County, Molly Reed, sat down with the shelter's leaders to find out what this means.
Volusia County will have to build its own animal shelter. For almost 40 years, animal control teams in cities and Volusia County have brought stray animals here to Halifax Humane Society, animals that have bitten people and are waiting on dangerous animal evaluations, and animals under rabies quarantines. But starting October 1st, Halifax Humane will no longer take those animals in.
Of Florida's 67 counties, there are only 9 counties in the entire state that do not have a government-run stray animal shelter.
And Volusia is the largest of those 9 counties. Sean Hawkins is the CEO of Halifax Humane.
62% of the animals that come into Halifax Humane Society are stray animals, and most of those animals arrive here with behavior issues or with medical issues.
And Hawkins says it's just not sustainable for the donor-funded nonprofit.
We invest between $700 and $800 in every dog and cat coming through the building to get them ready for adoption. And the municipal and county contracts don't cover but a tiny fraction of that cost.
Halifax will still be the place where Volusia families can go to surrender pets if needed. But the hope is by focusing on preventative care, they won't have to get to that point.
What we're going to be doing differently is providing services like public dog training classes, providing access to veterinary care, so affordable, low-cost and no-cost veterinary services.
Something the Society's medical team says is much needed to keep animals off the street.
And a lot of people are struggling to afford those costs and have an animal and food and everything like that.
The county says it's already identified a location in DeLand to lease for animal intake, costing the county about $90,000 a year. The Humane Society says it will still occasionally help the county out with stray animals until 2027, so the county has time to build a shelter. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Molly, thank you. A county spokesperson sent News 6 a statement late today. It says in part, Halifax's decision to abruptly abandon sheltering services was communicated with little lead time, creating planning constraints that necessitated a rapid response on behalf of the county. You can read the county's full statement that it sent to News 6 on our website, clickorlando.com. News 6 is also still waiting to hear what many of the cities affected plan to do, and we'll update the story as we get more answers.
But tonight, 2 people are dead and an investigation's underway into a fiery crash in Oviedo. Oviedo police say it happened just before 2 this morning at the intersection of Alafaya Woods Boulevard and Covington Streets, right near State Roads 426 and 434. Video of the scene shows the destruction of that car right there. Officers say the car caught fire after hitting a tree. Investigators aren't sure what led to the crash, but they're providing an update this morning.
They'll look at everything. Yeah, the traffic homicide investigators will look at everything, speed, and once they at least try and look at the vehicle, see if there was any mechanical issues with the vehicle, they'll do their whole job, whatever, that's their job, and they get very detailed into that.
It's terrible to say, but police say the bodies were unrecognizable and they're working to learn their identities. We'll let you know when we find out more.
Next month, the House of Blues in Orlando is set to light up with some country music and community spirit.
Orlando Rocks Country will benefit families affected by the July Texas floods. Traffic safety expert Trooper Steve caught up with one of the featured artists, Orlando's own Patrick Gibson.
When did you realize music's going to be something I do forever? What was that moment for you?
So I was a 3rd grader, and my dad was a local honky-tonker.
Okay, I like that.
He was really good. I could never touch what Dad did. However, he invited me up on stage. Don't laugh, don't laugh.
Okay.
And I got to sing Billy Ray Cyrus, Achy Breaky Heart.
We all have our moment to shine, and that was
Steve,
yours.
When a 3rd grader sings that song, you just got to watch how it hits the ladies.
I'm sure. I'm sure you probably had him for the rest of your life at that point. What was the crowd size, man?
Maybe 60 people. I ain't going to lie, it was a hole in the wall. I probably should not have been in there,
Okay.
but that struck it right there.
Friday, September 5th, Orlando rocks country over at the House of Blues. Dallas Tyler, Patrick Gibson, Eli Mosley, and Noah Hunton hanging out with us at the House of Blues.
I don't have a problem with Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart. It's a classic. You can watch Steve's full interview with Gibson right now on clickorlando.com, where you can also find event information in the web story.
Well, it is a cake that caught a lot of people's attention.
The hurricane-inspired treat became a symbol for Florida prep. Turns out cane cakes are still being talked about after being discontinued. The push to bring them back to Publix's bakery, that is coming up. Jonathan?
And we have a couple of thunderstorms out there tonight, a couple of big ones closer to Kenansville, then also hanging around just to the west of Leesburg and back into Sumter County. We're tracking where these are headed. We'll have the latest on the tropics as well in a few minutes.
First, though, St. Cloud facing big decisions about its future, and the lakefront is at the center of that debate, how neighbors are fighting to keep their favorite spot free from new buildings.
For years, city planners have been trying to figure out how to deal with more growth in St. Cloud. The state of Florida is requiring cities and counties to plan for future growth, and right now public meetings are being held to decide what areas will be used for commercial land.
Your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee tells us people are trying to make sure their lakefront remains untouched.
It's a place that me regularly go to play, to get some exercise.
Kayla Rivero brings her 7-year-old son here to Lakefront Park in St. Cloud to play after school. She lives just 10 minutes away and says she doesn't want to see commercial buildings and houses built by this lake.
And it's already getting a little overwhelming at times, especially with the school incentive.
Right now, the city of St. Cloud and council members are trying to decide which areas of the city they will allow future development. The state of Florida requires cities and counties to have comprehensive plans to manage future growth. They're planning for what the city will look like by 2045. They sent a map similar to this to residents. It shows proposed commercial land use as seen in the orange areas. Mark Denius brings his 17-month-old daughter here to play.
What we have now is perfectly fine, but obviously they don't care. They see every inch of land as inventory, so they're just willing to do whatever is best for their pockets.
The city of St. Cloud sent us a statement that says, in part, the update includes a designation for employment land use to plan for new jobs in the community. It also addresses the population growth. They've held several public meetings throughout this process and have made changes to what they're proposing based on feedback from the community.
I would say no. I would say to just keep it as is.
Members of the public can attend a meeting on Thursday morning to give their opinion. City Council will vote on the proposed changes on September 11th. Your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee, News 6.
All right, we want to bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kagas because we do have those afternoon thunderstorms that we're tracking, and of course, all eyes on Erin right now.
That's right. We've seen the sky cams in Daytona Beach and along the coastline. The beaches are a little rough out there. Just be careful if you're planning on heading in that direction. Really, for the next week, it's going to be a while before everything settles back down. We're watching a couple of thunderstorms here, some developing storms hanging around Leesburg tonight. I've been watching this cell for you for the last about 30 to 40 minutes as this works its way south of Fruitland Park. We gave you the early heads up in Coleman that we were likely going to get back in on this one. And we do have a lightning strike nearby, the heavier rain coming through. You might have gotten those alerts if you do have the free News 6 weather app. If a lightning strike comes within 10 miles of your location, so make sure location services is turned on. You're going to get a push alert, then you can dial up the radar and track it for yourself where that storm is going. Bushnell, we have some of that very heavy rain. We were in it yesterday for quite some time. Same for us in Wildwood. Center Hill, we're dry right now. We'll take it back into Osceola County, take a trip down the turnpike tonight, and that's where we have another rowdy thunderstorm. Lots of lightning. We've been tracking this for you all the way since it was around the Orlando International Airport through Kissimmee and St. Cloud, and now it's working its way closer to Ehud Junction. That green line right there, that's what we call an outflow boundary. It's the leading edge of some cooler air from that rain-cooled air from the thunderstorm. That's pushing into Brevard County. Would not be surprised if we saw a couple of other cells try to pop south of us in Grant Valkyria in Mico as a result of that tonight. But over the next hour or so, I think we get rid of all of this. The cell, I just want to check on Denellen for a second, just to the southwest of Ocala. That is fizzling out as it works through, so no longer concerned about that one. Next hour or so, we're going to watch these storms get on out of here. That 7 o'clock tonight may still be hanging on to a few southwest of the Turnpike in Polk County and then back towards I-75. I don't think these hang on or as intense or widespread as what we saw last night, especially west of Orlando. That's 9 o'clock tonight. We're looking pretty good. Just a few of these downpours sneaking on shore. These are not outer bands per se, but because the hurricane being out there, it's going to shift the wind direction out of the north and east, and that's going to help to generate a couple of downpours moving on shore. Again, it is way too far away from any kind of outer bands or anything like that, but you see those scattered downpours again pushing through. Same deal tomorrow. I think albeit at a higher clip than what we even saw this afternoon. We'll bump it up to 40% chance to get wet tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. Here's a live look at Marineland right now. Again, the waves are rocking on the other side of this camera. Temperatures back to around 84 degrees. Live look with our WeatherStem network of cameras. Breeze out of the north-northeast at about 14 miles an hour. All of this, again, generating all the waves, it's staying 500 miles away. This is Hurricane Erin. Again, that's its closest approach to us right now. We've been talking about that extensively for the week, that it would make the turn. It's not like one of these little wobbles or anything like that. There is a big scale weather feature on the east coast of the United States to help guide this thing away. Hurricane will never, ever, ever beat an opening and a weakness in the high pressure like we've been talking about. So we never had anything to worry about, except, again, if you're planning on getting in the water. And again, we do in addition have in addition to the rough surf, we have a small craft advisory. You might imagine it's going to get a little choppy out there. 9 to 14 foot waves over the next few days through Thursday night at least. Wind gusts out there over the open Atlantic to about 35 miles an hour. Water vapor imagery showing again. There is the swirl, some drier air getting in on the west side of it, likely going to try to strengthen again as it lifts to the north, but that's the key, lifting to the north. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Temperatures over the next few days back to the mid-90s, 40% shot for storms tomorrow, 50% chance on Thursday, a little bit higher, closing out your work week and getting into the weekend, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. There is a new and improved way to track the tropics on the free News 6 weather app. Over on clickorlando.com, we've put together a web story to help you navigate our app. Plus, meteorologist Jonathan Kagas walks us through the tropics section. Still to come, a sweet storm of controversy.
They were a must on many shopping lists for hurricane snacks. In minutes, why thousands of Floridians want their favorite hurricane cakes back at Publix.
Coming up in the morning, another local city looking to formally ban sleeping in public. The worries about the potential impact on the homeless and what's being done to try and help. Plus, we'll have the latest on Erin's impacts along our coast. We'll see you for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
Well, tonight, try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then at 9:30, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas answers your weather-related questions and dives into the tropics. Then watch the late news an hour early. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is asking for your help to track down a rare snake that's become even harder to find now. The rainbow snake, a non-venomous reptile known for its shiny black or violet blue color with 3 red stripes, has seen its numbers drop over the years. The snakes live near water like rivers and springs, and they feed mainly on American eels, which have also become less common. FWC says every sighting helps them understand where these snakes are and how they're doing. So if you spot one, take a picture, report it to the FWC online. From snakes to cakes. Go away. Leave Florida alone. You might remember certain cakes in the Publix bakery were once decorated with these phrases.
However, after Hurricane Ian, Publix announced they would no longer sell hurricane cakes in their stores. Turns out those cakes had a huge following. So here's an updated look at a new Change.org petition titled Bring Back Publix Hurricane Cakes. Now get this, it right now has more than 28,000 signatures. The creator argued those cakes made hurricane prep a little brighter.
So here's the official statement Publix released in 2023. Our associates make every effort to support our customers during weather events. Oftentimes, this includes finding ways to delight them with their favorite Publix items as they prepare for uncertainty. For these requests in particular, it's our company policy not to create bakery cakes that would make light of a natural disaster.
I mean, I can see why they made that decision. For some people, it can seem a little insensitive, but for others, it's like one tiny little bright spot when they're trying to prepare for something that's pretty bad.
I'm pretty confident that a cake does not increase the strength of the hurricane. So how its actual impact on things is fairly insignificant.
Agreed. Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
Yeah, the way you get around that, Matt and Lisa, is you order a giant cookie and you put the same thing on. Well, speaking of hurricanes, we are already feeling the effects of Hurricane Erin in Central Florida, even though the storm is not coming to Florida. Jonathan Kagas breaks down the important safety reminder after the break. Plus, a local animal shelter adjusting its policies and restricting which animals it takes in. We'll take you to the community impacted.
Now it's 6. The new details about the road rage shooting that killed a beloved fishing captain. Plus,
62% of the animals that come into Halifax Humane Society are stray animals.
the critical service being cut in one county and how officials say it will impact safety. And the part of your next vacation that may be getting more expensive. News 6 at 6 starts now.
We start tonight in North Carolina's Outer Banks, where you can see communities near the coast are already seeing flooding from Hurricane Erin. And we're also keeping a close eye on Erin as it continues to churn in the Atlantic.
That's right. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is monitoring this thing, and we know it's not going to hit us, but we will be feeling its impact.
Yeah, drive to the beach. If you're hanging out at the beach, you live there, then you can see the impacts of it already. And this is what it is. This is kind of the start of the increasing wave heights, as we've been talking about for the last couple of days. About 4 to 6, 7 feet through the afternoon, evening, and then it's going to increase overnight as we get into tomorrow. Certainly you can see the strong surf there, the high surf, and the rip current threat. That's going to be the main deal going forward over the next couple of days as Erin reaches its first point, or its closest point to Florida. Again, you see the rip current risk over the next few days. Going to be sky high. The wave heights increase tomorrow into Thursday, and then certainly if you're taking the boat out, you would think twice about that. Small craft advisory in play for just offshore waters at about 9 to 14 feet. So again, certainly not coming here. If you want to see the impacts of a giant hurricane, just head to the beach.
Yeah, okay, so Jonathan, we know you have been getting a lot of messages, emails on social media about this storm, and you've said it time and time again. It is not coming here, but say it for the people in the back.
Right.
This storm is not going to be a Florida storm.
And I'm sure it's social media, because there were TikToks this weekend that said it's not going to make the turn. And that's the key. We were with you last week, and we were talking about, again, that it most certainly would, that it wouldn't be a situation like a Charlie or like an Ian. It wasn't a small scale feature that was going to try to push this thing. It was a big dip in the jet stream that was going to keep things wide open, of course, in terms of the steering. But you can clearly see now the northward motion. Hurricane Hunter aircraft early this morning found that northwesterly motion. So again, it is not going to continue to work its way over to the northwest. Again, it's not going to be something like what Andrew did in 1992 either. That one was expected to go out and they came in. Hurricane forecasting so much better these days. Certainly the modeling much better as well. So again, something like that, it's very, very rare to happen. But in this case, there was a large scale weather feature protecting the southeast corner of the United States. So again, the main risk with Erin, the only risk with Erin, is going to be the rip currents. Again, I'm sure that some people may want to get to the surfboards, may want to get into the water. If you do so, just be careful. Again, I've already seen some surfers out of the southeast corner of the state of Florida. Again, can't stop you from doing that, but just please be careful. Again, those rip currents are no joke. Unfortunately, we see fatalities all the time with these distant hurricanes. Of course, the rip currents are the things that get you, so just be careful out there.
Yeah, and one fatality is too many. Jonathan, thank you. You can track the tropics anytime with from your home using the free News 6 weather app. Jonathan gives a detailed breakdown on how to use all the app's features in this article. You'll find it on clickorlando.com.
Breaking at 6, News 6 has learned a woman has died along with 2 animals in a house fire.
Palm Bay fire crews were called to a home on Firth Road around 2:30 where the woman was found. Palm Bay community correspondent James Barbero joins us from the scene with what investigators are telling us so far.
I'm your Brevard County community correspondent, James Barbero. It's a somber mood right now on Firth Road in northwest Palm Bay because right over here, the fire department says at about 2 o'clock Tuesday, 1 person and 2 pets, a cat and a dog, both died inside this home. The battalion chief, John Ringleb, told me the fire was contained to a bedroom, but that person and those pets could not get out. Other family members are here on the scene now grieving.
You could definitely tell that there's some tragic events going on here, and the family's kind of dealing with it right now, and they're in their way.
And Chief Ringleb told me they don't know what started the fire yet. The State Fire Marshal's office is investigating that. In Palm Bay, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Barbero, News 6.
Yeah, I need police and medical. There's a woman been assaulted on a trail behind my work.
Just into News 6 now. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office just released the heart-wrenching 911 calls of the moments immediately after a woman was attacked on a local walking trail. The caller staying with the woman until first responders arrived.
Deputies also identified the suspect they arrested in this case earlier this afternoon. 20-year-old Patrick Gamachi is being charged with a sexual assault and battery and is being held in the Seminole County Jail. Now, we first told you about the bold afternoon attack yesterday.
Deputies say the woman was walking on the Seminole Trail at the time. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, walks us through what happened.
Less than 24 hours after deputies say a woman was attacked by a man on the Seminole Trail, detectives say they now have a suspect in custody. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office had previously shared this photo of the electric scooter and red shirt they say was left behind, along with this picture of the man they were looking for, captured by a camera in the area near 434 and Douglas Avenue. They say around 4 o'clock Monday, a woman walking here was dragged towards the wood line. Someone nearby heard her cries for help and called 911. It's a busy area surrounded by businesses.
It's a shame. You know, you hate to see things like that.
Our News 6 team spoke to people biking and walking and talking about what happened.
We were surprised, we're saddened. We see a lot of single ladies out here.
You don't know who you're going to meet on the trail, and you know, there's people individually riding their bikes, and you know, they could be creeps.
The sheriff's office says it's a reminder to stay alert. They offer free women's safety and awareness classes.
We love elbows.
We've told you about similar courses at agencies across Central Florida.
This is really just getting them in a mindset that things do happen.
What's the top tip you tell people? Don't run alone. We met Carrie Gregory at Track Shack in Orlando. They have a safety class too.
This is a ripcord siren that you will pull this little device here, and it is very loud. It will sound like a fire truck in your backyard.
So the idea is to get somebody's attention.
Super attention, yes. Mace, this is pretty standard, but just push the tab at the top here.
Better to have these and not need them.
Absolutely.
Deputies told us they had stepped up patrols after what happened here yesterday, and it was during that increased presence that they found the suspect. We'll let you know as soon as they share more information with us. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Almost a week after a deadly road rage shooting in Sanford, we're now learning more about the man who was killed.
Joseph Hall was shot at the View on Lake Monroe Apartments last Thursday. As News 6's Emily McLeod learned, he was a beloved charter fishing boat captain down in South Florida.
A road rage incident turning deadly when Sanford police say 24-year-old Jaden Harris shot and killed Joseph Hall at the View on Lake Monroe Apartments. News 6 has now confirmed Hall was a charter boat captain for Sailor's Choice Party Fishing Boat down in Key Largo. Pictures from the company's Facebook page show Hall on the water. A close friend of Hall's tells us friends and family aren't ready to talk about his death, but a statement from Hall's widow on the Sailor's Choice Facebook page reads in part, "It breaks my heart to share that my husband, Captain Joe, has passed away. He poured his whole heart into the Sailor's Choice and Angler's Choice. The boats weren't just his work, they were his passion, his second home, and his way to connect with so many of you." Sanford police also releasing an unredacted version of the arrest report. According to the report, the situation started while Harris and Hall were driving on South Mangustine Avenue. Investigators say Harris told them Hall was driving really slow and proceeded to pass him. Police say Harris told them after he passed Hall was acting like he was going to hit his car. The report says Harris then followed Hall to try and get a picture of his license plate. Harris told investigators Hall turned into the apartment complex and blocked him in. The report says Harris told police Hall got out of his car and approached him. Harris says he fired the first shot while in the driver's seat of his car. Emily McLeod, News 6.
Well, police say witnesses told them they remember seeing Hall running from Harris at one point and hearing several gunshots, but based on the report, Harris never told police he ran after Hall.
Harris is now facing a murder charge and is behind bars at the Seminole County Jail. We've posted the full unredacted report in this story on the homepage of clickorlando.com. Big changes are coming to where animals can be sheltered in Volusia County.
Halifax Humane Society ending its contract with the county and cities, meaning it'll no longer accept stray, dangerous animals from around the county. Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed sat down with the shelter's leaders to find out what that means.
Volusia County will have to build its own animal shelter. For almost 40 years, animal control teams in cities and Volusia County have brought stray animals here to Halifax Humane Society, animals that have bitten people and are waiting on dangerous animal evaluations, and animals under rabies quarantines. But starting October 1st, Halifax Humane will no longer take those animals in.
Of Florida's 67 counties, there are only 9 counties in the entire state that do not have a government-run stray animal shelter.
And Volusia is the largest of those 9 counties. Sean Hawkins is the CEO of Halifax Humane.
62% of the animals that come into Halifax Humane Society are stray animals, and most of those animals arrive here with behavior issues or with medical issues.
And Hawkins says it's just not sustainable for the donor-funded nonprofit.
We invest between $700 and $800 in every dog and cat coming through the building to get them ready for adoption. And the municipal and county contracts don't cover but a tiny fraction of that cost.
Halifax will still be the place where Volusia families can go to surrender pets if needed. But the hope is by focusing on preventative care, they won't have to get to that point.
What we're going to be doing differently is providing services like public dog training classes, providing access to veterinary care, so affordable, low-cost and no-cost veterinary services.
Something the Society's medical team says is much needed to keep animals off the street.
And a lot of people are struggling to afford those costs and have an animal and food and everything like that.
The county says it's already identified a location in DeLand to lease for animal intake, costing the county about $90,000 a year. The Humane Society says it will still occasionally help the county out with stray animals until 2027, so the county has time to build a shelter. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Now, a spokesperson sent News 6 a statement late today with their side of this situation. It says in part about Halifax's decision, their decision to abruptly abandon sheltering services was communicated with little lead time, creating planning constraints that necessitated a rapid response on behalf of the county. Still to come at 6, your next cruise may be getting more expensive before you even set sail. We'll show you what's behind the increase.
And we'll take you live to the World Center of Racing ahead of the Coke Zero 400 this weekend. Sports Director Jamie Say joins us live from the track.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
Taking a live look at our launch credit union, Port Canaveral. Cam, the port is as busy as ever these days. It is jumping, and it's going to cost you more to use it soon. And the reason, they say, is tariffs.
Yeah, the port is eyeing a parking fee hike to offset its increased cost. Port Canaveral community correspondent James Barbero breaks down how much more you'll have to fork over next time you set sail.
So just the other weekend, I took a tour of Port Canaveral's newest and largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas. And as you might imagine, with almost 1 million people taking a cruise here a month now, the port's also making record money on parking from passengers. And that could go up even more. As it's written in Wednesday's commission agenda, we are proposing selective increases to certain tariff items, including an adjustment to the daily cruise parking rate from $17 to $20. So I just met Michelle here in one of the port's parking lots. So Michelle, if the port wants to raise daily parking rates from $17 a day to $20 a day, what would your reaction to that be?
It's a little high, honestly, but it would definitely be good for the local economy, I guess. But you have to think of, for the cruise people that are cruising, you know, what would be the benefit to that?
Do you think raising parking deters anyone from cruising, or will they still keep coming?
They'll keep coming, but it would probably deter some people. Everything's going up, so of course some people of some economic statuses would not be able to take these fun vacations with their families.
And parking's not the only thing getting more expensive because of tariffs. The port's setting aside more than $1 million to cover the cost of tariffs on its mobile harbor cranes. If the commission approves raising the parking fees, the increase would go into effect October 1st. At Port Canaveral, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
I mean, it's not going to stop people from cruising.
No, it's not. But I will tell you, I did a cruise one time, and it was a 7-day, and you show up there, and they're like, oh, it's it used to be $15 a day. Now it's $20 a day times a 7-day cruise. That's a big fee.
You just paid for the vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan Kagas joining us right now. So we have a big old heartthrob out there in the Atlantic.
We do. If you were cruising through this, it'd be
that would be
bring the Dramamine for sure. Yeah, it's a little wild out on the ocean right now through the Bahamas and into the southwest corner of the United States, or southeast corner of the United States, southwest Atlantic. Also tracking a few lingering downpours, a few lightning strikes out there. All of this is kind of wrapping up tonight. We were talking earlier that we would not see a repeat performance of last night where these just linger and just were slow moving and widespread, especially west of Orlando. A few more scattered thunderstorms now just turning into some light sprinkles out there. A few more storms exiting out of Osceola County. And I think the rest of the evening, it's pretty quiet. I do think we're going to run the risk of a couple of these downpours pushing in out from the Atlantic on the eastern coast, on the east coast of Florida. Otherwise, though, we're going to be on the quieter side tonight. Future radar showing that exact same thing. Taking you through the overnight hours, would not be surprised if you do get woken up by a rogue rumble of thunder or a downpour on the roof, especially if you're east of Orlando and right along the I-95 corridor with the breeze out of the north and east, courtesy of Hurricane Erin. Again, these are not outer bands. These are just because the winds are out of the north and east. It's going to help to generate a few of these downpours or a few rumbles of thunder coming in off of the Atlantic. That's 1 o'clock for you on your Wednesday afternoon. Same deal again. Couple of these guys pushing in off out from the Atlantic, pushing inland tomorrow. So we'll be watching that again. Rain chances going up a smidge to 40% tomorrow. We're at 88 in Sanford right now, 79 in Orlando after an earlier thunderstorm. Wildwood, we're still at 91. 83 degrees in Ocala. We had a thunderstorm go through as well. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Temperatures back to the low to mid-90s. Rain chances at 40%. We're at 94 in Holopod tomorrow. Good evening in Palm Bay. We're at 94. Mount Dora, we're also checking in tomorrow afternoon at 94 degrees. Latest on Erin, a Category 2 storm as it lifts to the north. Again, this is the key that we'll continue to point out. Again, I know if you're just dialing up a satellite image and you see this thing out to sea, looking close to Florida, it has officially made the big big turn as forecast and right on schedule out of the northwest at about 10 miles an hour as it continues to lift up, kind of parallel to Florida. But again, it is not coming here. It's going to continue to lift away. But what it will continue to bring for the next couple of days, some pretty big wave heights out there. So if you do want to see what the hurricane can do, far away from the coast, about 500 miles away since it's so large, still as we get into Thursday morning, 6-7 foot waves. And I think once we get into tomorrow and into early Thursday, those wave heights again are going to be pushing 5 to 8 feet. The rip current risk very high, so you know the drill. Again, please be careful. The red flag's going to be flying likely through the weekend. Couple of waves behind Erin. These pose no immediate threat to Florida either. Medium shot for development as it kind of slides northeast of the Caribbean. That's wave number 1. Wave 2 has a decent shot to develop. It's a low chance right now, but it will likely stay out into the Atlantic and fizzle out. The environment becomes not very conducive out there, so we'll take it right now as we move through August. 60% chance for storms continue right on through the weekend, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, Daytona International Speedway is about to welcome the best NASCAR drivers back to the track.
Today, the famous oval had to settle for our own Jamie Say. I did not write that, Jamie. We joined her live at Daytona. Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, Ginger. Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, but it is race week here at Daytona as the Coke Zero Sugar 400 roars into the track on Saturday. So is the Speedway ready? We're going to take a few spins around it to find out. Coming up next.
This weekend is the end of the road in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, the NASCAR Cup Series regular season finale goes down Saturday night at Daytona International Speedway with the Coke Zero Sugar 400.
That's where we find sports director Jamie Say, who's getting up close and personal
Nice.
with the track today. Hey, Jamie.
Hey guys, yeah, I sure am. I am in one of the Daytona Speedway pace cars right now. With me driving is president of the Speedway, Frank Kelleher. Frank, thank you for taking us for a ride here.
I'm glad you're here. You ready to go check this place out? Make sure we're ready for fans to come in?
Yeah, we're going to go take a couple spins right now, and we're going to take you with us as well. But the Coke Zero Sugar 400, Frank, is coming up this Saturday night, 7:30. The night before, we've got the Wawa 250 on Friday night. Is the track ready?
The track is ready. The facility looks amazing. Big shout out to the entire team that maintains and protects this facility. You know, we treat this event no different than the Daytona 500, where there's over, 170,000 people here for the Daytona 500. We will have the campgrounds ready, the concession stands are ready, and I tell you who's really ready, and that's the competitors.
Absolutely.
Because it all comes down to Saturday night. This is the regular season finale, and as it sits right now, there are 2 drivers in on points, but if we get a new winner that hasn't won this year, those guys are on the bubble of being out.
Okay, so we're heading into turn 3. How fast are we going about?
We're flirting with about 100 miles an hour right now.
I like it. So this is like the wild card race, right? Anybody can win the Coke Zero.
We saw that last year. Harrison Burton rolled in driving for the Wood Brothers. He was not having a great season. In fact, the Wood Brothers had already ended his contract with him at the end of that year. But man, Harrison, he hung tough. He held off some NASCAR champions, and we are rolling out of NASCAR turn 4 right now. He took the lead right around here. He won the race, punched his ticket into the playoffs. So we've got 8 drivers competing on Saturday night that have not won in the NASCAR Cup Series just yet. So we could see if we have another first-time winner as well.
We got about 30 seconds left, Frank. What do you look forward to most about this race?
Man, it brings me so much joy to open up our gates and to see our race fans come in from around this country. We have a lot of generational fans that have been coming here for decades. This is one of the last big parties of summer. There's no better place to end your summer than right here at the World Center of Racing. And from a competition standpoint, if you're racing 2 wheels or 4 wheels, you want to race at Daytona. So there's already that anxiety with the drivers when they roll in, but knowing that the regular season ends here just makes it extra special.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Frank.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Jamie, super speeder.
Oh my, I know. Yeah, should get a ticket for that. We'll see you back here.